mother started the Joy Luck Club, having met all these women in church.
The Joy Luck Club.
Hey, give up the car right now.
Menace to society.
Buster, there's a man in a blue top coat waving a gun and screaming, "Red!" and a woman. Stop that man!
The Fugitive. What do they have in common? Each is on either Roger's or mine, or maybe both of our lists of the 10 best films of 1993, and that's saying a lot, because 1993 had more good films than any year since the 1970s, the last golden era of American movie making. Get your pencils ready, because at the end of this show, we're going to each list all of our 10 favorites. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times, and I'd like to start with the number 9 choice on my list this year, a movie that I hope the Academy Award voters don't forget about just because it came out last summer. It's called What's Love Got to Do with It, and it's one of the best musical biographies I've seen, both because of the music and because of the biography. It tells the life story of rock star Tina Turner, who was born Anna Mae Bullock in Nutbush, Tennessee, and whose life was transformed for the better and for the worse when she met a band leader named Ike Turner. He changed her name, they became stars, but their personal life was rocked by violence.
What's the matter, baby?
You high, you embarrassing.
Oh, okay. Come on now, open your mouth. See that white man has to open the mouth, she sing all damn day long. I ask you, ain't gonna say nothing now. Come on now, I'm asking you nothing.
And right there you see two of the best movie performances of the year by Angela Bassett as Tina Turner and Lawrence Fishburne as Ike Turner. So many showbiz biopics simply follow the same old rags to riches formula, but What's Love Got to Do with It is smart about the music business and wise about the chemistry of their relationship. When Tina finds the courage to go out on her own, it's a dramatic moment and also a very truthful one.
Oh, I admired the film tremendously. I also hope the Academy doesn't forget it. These are two of the best performances of the year. It just missed making my top 10. I had about 15 pictures that were top 10 material.
It was hard this year. It was a bloodletting for me trying to get 20 good movies into a list with 10 titles on it.
When this comes out on videotape, I hope that people will rent it if they didn't see it. It is a special picture. Okay, now to my list. I'll start with number 9 on my list. A film you won't find on many other critics' lists is Steven Soderbergh's King of the Hill, his marvelous Depression-era drama set in St. Louis in 1933, told from a precocious child's point of view. Here is the boy, brilliantly played by Jesse Bradford, left to his own devices by his parents, has to fear everyone from a hotel bellman that's going to throw him out of his room to the cop on the corner.
Lester, look, the Ripple Viners, that Rat Burns told him where the Ford is.
Where is it?
It's in the alley behind the Davidson house, but I don't have the keys.
What?
It doesn't have any gas.
Will you come on?
All right.
Every scene works in this film, building a mosaic of a time when children were given more responsibility than they are today, and the kids responded. Rarely will you see a film in which a child actor acts less like a child than in King of the Hill. And that made it very special for me.
It did make it special. It was a wonderful film, a wonderful period film. It wasn't on my top 10 list, but once again, a great film in a great year. When we come back, more titles on our list of the year's best films.
The 10 best films of 1993, jumping up to number 5 on my list is a thrilling discovery, a vital film by 21-year-old twin brothers, 21 years old, Alan and Albert Hughes. It's Menace to Society, a drama of the guns and drugs that are everywhere in the Watts area of Los Angeles and often rob small children of growing up with the chance to flourish as human beings.
I don't want any trouble. Just get out.
Stand, John.
I feel sorry for your mother.
What you say about my mama?
I don't want any trouble. Just get out.
What's significant about Menace to Society, beyond the issues it raises, is that the Hughes brothers, and the way they trained as filmmakers, represent the future of American movies. They learned their craft as teens after their mother, desperate to put some creativity into their lives, bought them a video camera. They shot hundreds of hours of tape and have developed a fluid shooting style that is really something to behold in Menace to Society.
It sure is, and this movie is also on my best 10 list, and it's so heartbreaking the way it shows a character who is not inherently a bad kid. You have to say that because the fact is he's a dangerous kid, and by the end of the movie you realize we'd all be safer if he was in jail because his environment has given him nothing to do, basically, but to get involved in the culture of guns and drugs and gangs.
Yeah, I'm just thrilled that these guys are going to be making more films, and I have a feeling there are a lot of 20 and 19-year-olds behind them, ready to shoot because they have been given video cameras.
I hope so. Next choice, in my opinion, one of the most overlooked films of 1993 was a hard-edged, brilliantly acted road picture named California. That's spelled with a K. In a year when the subject of violence in the movies was widely debated, this movie went deeper and thought harder about the subject than any other. A young couple decides to drive cross-country. He's a writer, she's a photographer, and they will do a book about the scenes of famous murders. They need someone to share the driving and the gas and end up with another couple, a spaced-out, moony young woman and her violent, dangerous boyfriend.
Loosen your elbow. Breathe. You gotta breathe, bud. Hold it. Shoot. Woo! Hey, cat! Good one.
You look good with a gun, Brian.
Juliette Lewis and Brad Pitt were so good in this movie as that sinister young couple that I found myself completely absorbed and convinced. But the movie wasn't simply about violence. It was about the attitudes toward violence in our society, about how people like the yuppie writer and photographer tend to romanticize criminals until they experience the feelings of their victims. California, directed by Dominic Sena, deserved to be taken very seriously, and the fact that so many critics missed its greatness suggests perhaps that they couldn't see beneath its surface. This was the best overlooked movie of the year. It's number 6 on my list.
And as you know, I didn't overlook it. I enjoyed it very much when it came out. I thought the idea of, saying, you're writing about evil, all right, here's evil in your back seat. And then the sort of boredom and casual nature of this evil character, I thought that was done in a very fresh way.
This movie does not deserve to be overlooked. Coming up next, we move further up on our list of the 10 best of 1993. Selection of the year's best movies. The number 5 title on my list is The Joy Luck Club, an extraordinarily emotional film based on Amy Tan's bestseller about 4 older Chinese-American women and the experiences they had in early life. The movie begins in present-day San Francisco, where the death of one of the women inspires a reunion in which all of their stories are remembered, and we see the tragic and painful experiences they lived through in their native land, where they had to survive not only war and poverty, but also the low status of women.
I was taught to desire nothing, to swallow other people's misery, and to eat my own bitterness.
The Joy Luck Club was called in some circles a 4-handkerchief movie, one hanky for each woman, I guess, and although I dislike language like that, it is true that the movie was extraordinarily effective emotionally. It is also true that it earned its right to affect us so deeply because its story, directed by Wayne Wang, grew so directly out of the real lives of the women who inspired it. Wang's ability to move back and forth through time, showing us his characters at various stages in their lives, could have been confusing in a lesser film, but he was firmly in control all the time, sweeping us along with the history of these remarkable women.
These women and their daughters. I thought that the film was universal in this sense. Though it's specific about Chinese-American women. It was very universal in the way that there's sort of a love-hate relationship with daughters, a power struggle, and that, I thought, is why it had a wide reception, and it's just not perceived of as a Chinese-American film. He did do an excellent job. You have to juggle 8 characters here, and I thought that was extremely well done.
Various actresses playing them at various times in their lives.
I thought he did a great job.
And by the time you finish this movie, you realize, in a way, every family in the nation has stories like this somewhere.
Exactly right, and it was number 8 on my list. It's a terrific film. Now I'm going to jump up to number 4 on my list, also with a Chinese influence. It's Chen Kaiga's Farewell My Concubine, the best of the many Chinese and China-related films released this year. If China is the most fascinating place on the planet right now, Farewell My Concubine explained the evolution of the nation over the last 50 years, following the fortunes of 2 Peking opera stars.
臭婊子，淫妇，带上我们的头牌妓女范金莲。
带上了，她是不是妓女？
Farewell My Concubine is an epic work with as big a canvas as Bertolucci's The Last Emperor, but perhaps more insight into the Chinese national characters. We see children in a brilliant opening passage beaten to the point of obedience as part of their opera training. After centuries of such oppression, maybe that's why China seems so open to rapid political change. They are used to being browbeaten.
And you know, once again, this was a movie that had an epic sweep. There were so many movies this year that didn't try to tell a story that took place in 2 afternoons. They took place over 40 years, and they showed you how things began, how they continued, and what the result was.
Weren't you impressed with just the physical work involved? I mean, this picture was, they talk about Hollywood having the ability to do the big picture. This picture has all of those
well, if Hollywood had done this movie, it would have cost $200 million. It didn't quite make my best 10 list, but it would have in any other year. When we come back, More titles from our separate lists of the best films of 1993.
The list is Robert Altman's Shortcuts, the great director's companion piece to his movie world satire, The Player. Shortcuts is set in a different part of Los Angeles, the white middle-class world of busted marriages, saloon singers, and men on the prowl. We meet 22 different characters, including this pair at wit's end about their marriage, Matthew Modine and Julianne Moore.
Something's on your mind?
That party.
What party?
You know what party I'm talking about, Marion. The one with Mitchell Anderson.
Jesus, Ralph, that was 3 years ago.
You kissed him, didn't you?
No.
Two more include a divorced Peter Gallagher playing a surprise visit to his ex-wife, Frances McDormand.
Give me that phone.
Now.
Give it to me.
Honey, put your panties on. Whoa.
With it. Give it to me. Give it to me.
Altman knits together these stories and those of many more couples like no one else working in the movies today. He treats us like adults in terms of language and nudity and raw emotion. And what really surprised me about Shortcuts is that for the first hour, I hated most of these characters. But over the next 2 hours, they really gained my grudging respect as I saw them as human beings just trying like everybody else to slug their way through life.
You know, we've said that this year is a golden year for the movies, and certainly it's appropriate that somebody like Altman would be back at the top of his form to help with this celebration, because he's a reminder of the early 70s.
That's
as
correct.
You said, the last golden age when he was coming. And then, of course, in the 80s, which was not a great decade for him
He lost his way.
or for the movies, now we're back again, and it is a terrific film.
This is a 3-hour film. Again, we've had a couple of pictures out here that have also broken out of that 2-hour mold. I always like that. It's a wonderful film.
Okay, the number 3 title on my list this year was an odd and unusual film shot in New Zealand and called The Piano. Set in the late 19th century, it starred Holly Hunter as a young woman from Scotland who journeys with her daughter to a savage and unfriendly coast where it's been arranged that she will marry a farmer. The woman has not spoken since childhood. Instead, she communicates through sign language and through her piano. But her new husband has no interest in the instrument.
Come on like this. We're a family now. We all make sacrifices, and so will you. You will teach him.
That's Sam Neill as the husband there, who sells the piano to Harvey Keitel. Wonderful as a rough-edged neighbor who falls in love with the piano's music and with the woman who plays it. And that sets a strange love story into motion because this woman is fiercely independent and filled with anger, and you can't believe an illiterate pioneer will be able to find the key to her heart, but he does. One of the best performances in the piano, by the way, is by Anna Paquin, the child who plays the daughter.
Well, it's a marvelous film, and it was also number 3 on my list. And when I think about this picture, I saw it a couple of times, once in Paris and then once here in the States. I felt like I had really entered a world. I mean, we talk about that. Certainly, when I'm talking about Farewell My Concubine, I'm visiting the past in China. But in this film, I felt as though really I had just stumbled.
It's a hermetically sealed world.
Yes.
It's a world of its own time and place.
I stumbled into it, I unlocked the key, and I got back in, and now I can get back. That's a tribute to director Jane Campion. She's making the most interesting films about women today and in the world cinema, and she is a major director.
Coming up next, Gene and I both talk about our choices for the best film of the year. Into the home stretch in our countdown of 1993's best movies, the number 2 film on my list this year was by the great director Martin Scorsese. It was called The Age of Innocence, and it told the story of characters in the upper crust of New York society in the late 19th century. Daniel Day-Lewis starred as a man engaged to marry the proper daughter of an important family, but instead he falls in love with her cousin, a divorced countess who has just returned from Europe. His fiancée is played here by Winona Ryder. The countess is played by Michelle Pfeiffer.
She thinks I want to marry her at once to get away from someone that I care for more.
The Age of Innocence is the kind of film that builds up its power steadily until the final scenes in which we feel the emotional legacy of a lifetime of repression. The people in it almost always behave in a subtle and reserved way, not saying what they mean, concealing their emotions beneath the good manners of an orderly society. So it's a shock when we realize what passion, what scheming and plotting and intrigue is seething under that very proper surface.
I like the word seething because Scorsese's other films, his best-known films, Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, were very much about seething but up front. Here it's there.
Yes.
It's taking another form, and I think if people go to see this picture thinking of, could the same man have made this picture, I think that will inform this picture in a way that'll make it very exciting for them.
I think you're right.
It's on my best list, too.
That's good. Okay.
Now my choice for the number one, the best film of 1993, it's Schindler's List, Steven Spielberg's epic about the Holocaust and how one man, a German industrialist named Oskar Schindler, defied and outwitted the Nazis to save the lives of over 1,100 Jews. Liam Neeson plays Schindler, who was helped in his efforts by a Jewish businessman played by Ben Kingsley.
The calendar on my desk has the birthdays of our SS friends' wives and children. Don't forget to send something. The Armaments Board, the Governor General's Division of the Interior, and Chief of Police as fees, and make them on the 1st of each month. As opposed to individual payoffs to our SS contacts, the list is in the lower drawer of my desk, which SS contacts list, lower drawer of my desk, which you handle as cash contributions to legitimate charities, sent, of course, through each official's office.
Of the many, many things I admire about this film, I want to focus now on the violence in the picture. I was very impressed that Spielberg put it on the screen unvarnished, not romanticized. He shows the hatred of Jews and the sheer joy and pleasure so many Germans and Poles displayed while killing them. They loved doing it, and he shows it. That I didn't expect to see from Spielberg, so often so sweet in his films. Spanning pure evil to pure goodness, Schindler's List is easily the best film of the year.
Well, Gene, it's also number one on my list. And
Good.
to me, this is one of the great movie-going experiences of a lifetime. I mean, when I make up my list of those times in the theater when the movie has really reached out and touched me in the very deepest parts of who I am, Schindler's List is going to be on my list. And I agree with you that Spielberg here shows a restraint that he doesn't often show in his other films, as entertaining as they may be. For example, there's a scene involving a character named Poldek Pfefferberg as a young man who's left to clean up some suitcases that have been left behind. And when the Nazis approach, to save himself, he has to think very quickly. And notice here how Spielberg doesn't go for some kind of obvious melodrama, but just lets it play on a very realistic level.
I respectfully report I've been given orders to clear the bundles from the road, so there will be no obstructions to the thoroughfare.
Finish and join the lines, little Polish clicking soldier.
You know, the studio had some concern as to whether people would want to see this picture, and apparently the box office is proving them wrong because it's doing great business. And I think that's because when people say they don't want to see a depressing film, what they're really saying is they don't want to see a film that's going to depress them by being bad, because no good film is depressing. It can be about depressing subject matter, but the artistry and the vision here and the ending of this film are exhilarating.
The people aren't bored. This is a 3-hour picture. They're not leaving.
Yeah, it's a great film.
They're sitting there watching the entire credit list. They're coming out emotion-filled and telling people they should see it. In the line of the waiting, coming in, people are saying, you're in for, you know, something
Okay,
special.
so Schindler's List first on both of our lists. What else is on your list?
Okay, let me read now my entire top 10 list from bottom to top, starting with number 10, Vincent Ward's Map of the Human Heart, a youthful love story spanning decades and locations as varied as an Eskimo ice floe and London during the German Blitz of World War II. Number 9, Steven Soderbergh's Depression story, King of the Hill. Number 8, Wayne Wang's The Joy Luck Club. Number 7, Martin Scorsese's The Age of Innocence. Number 6, Andrew Davis's classic Hollywood thriller. This was certainly one of the most exciting films out of Hollywood in a long time, The Fugitive. Number 5, Menace to Society. Number 4, Chen Kaiga's Farewell, My Concubine. Number 3, Jane Campion's feminist love story, The Piano. Number 2, Robert Altman's Shortcuts. And the number 1 best film of 1993, Steven Spielberg's Schindler's List.
Okay, now here's my list of the year's best films. Number 10, Ruby in Paradise by Victor Nunez, with a glowing performance by Ashley Judd as an independent young woman who makes her own way in the world. Number 9, What's Love Got to Do with It? Number 8, Menace to Society. Number 7, Like Water for Chocolate, the enchanting, magical Mexican film about a woman who poured all of her passion, and a lot of other good stuff too, into her recipes. Number 6, California, a great film. Don't let this one get away. Number 5, The Joy Luck Club. Number 4, the year's best action thriller, The Fugitive, with Harrison Ford on the run and Tommy Lee Jones after him. Number 3, The Piano, with its special performances by Holly Hunter and Harvey Keitel. Number 2, Martin Scorsese's The Age of Innocence. And number 1 on my list, the year's best film, Steven Spielberg's great and daring epic Schindler's List. And you know, if you just added these two lists together and started looking at them, you'd see some great movies.
It is really very exciting as we conclude this century, this first century of world filmmaking, and we are getting great films from all over the world now. New Zealand, China, England, and America, too.
That's right.
That's it for this special show. Next week, we'll be back to cover the other end of the spectrum on our annual program devoted to the worst films of the year. One last shot before they disappear in the dustbin of video stores throughout the world. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.